The Buffalo Bills made noise again, and this time it's with a name fans know all too well. Jordan Poyer is back. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Jordan Poyer who helped define the Sean McDermott era from the start, who brought edge, intensity, and accountability to the defense. He's back in Buffalo, but under very different circumstances. We're going to break that down. Plus, we've got reactions to the latest Hard Knocks episode, and we'll walk through how the Bills built their practice squad, who made the cut, and who's officially out of the picture. So much to talk about, so buckle in. Let's start where we have to, the return of Jordan Poyer. For longtime Bills fans, that name means something. He was one half of one of the best safety duos the league had seen in the past decade alongside Micah Hyde. Together, they were the backbone of a defense that went from the bottom of the pile to one of the most feared in the league. But the reality now? It's 2025. Jordan Poyer is 34 years old. He's not coming back to be a starter. He's not even on the active roster. He's joining the practice squad. Still, that move means something. It's easy to romanticize the past. Poyer and Hyde were pillars. They helped reshape the Bills culture when Sean McDermott took over in 2017. They weren't just players. They were tone setters, leaders, guys who brought accountability to the building. But time catches up with everyone. Poyer signed with Miami last year, finally getting what looked like his dream move. After spending multiple off-seasons flirting with the idea of heading to South Florida, he got there. And then, it didn't work. At all. Let's be real here. Poyer struggled in Miami. Age, wear and tear, maybe just not being the right fit in that locker room. But what really raised eyebrows wasn't just the performance on the field. It's what he said after the fact. Poyer himself admitted that while he was in Miami, he was still keeping one eye on Buffalo. He also said he wasn't laying it on the line for the Dolphins like he did for the Bills. That's a strange thing to admit, especially publicly. Because regardless of where your heart is, you got paid to go to Miami and be a leader. You were supposed to be the guy that set the tone, that helped flip that culture. And you didn't do it. That rubs people the wrong way, and honestly, it should. Still, he's back. And this isn't the same old Poyer returning to dominate. He's joining the practice squad, and there's no illusion about what that means. This is about mentorship, leadership, and having a veteran presence in the building, someone who knows the standard, who can guide the young guys. Guys like Cole Bishop, second-year safety with high expectations. Jordan Hancock, a rookie who's going to have to grow up fast. These are the future of the secondary. And if Jordan Poyer can help shape them, even if he never steps on the field in a meaningful game again, that's valuable. This feels similar, at least on the surface, to what happened with Micah Hyde last year. Hyde returned mid-season, landed on the practice squad, and there was never a real expectation that he'd play. It was about presence, experience, stability. But this is slightly different. We're in late August now. The regular season is creeping up. And Brandon Beane made it clear that this isn't just a feel-good reunion. There's an expectation that if Poyer can get himself ready, and if the team needs him, he could be called upon to actually play. That changes the equation a bit. Nobody's expecting Jordan Poyer to come back and be the guy he was 3 years ago. That ship has sailed. But if something happens to Bishop or the depth starts to crack, he's an insurance policy, one with years of experience in the system, who won't need much time to get up to speed. That makes sense. And as long as he understands that this is no longer his secondary, this can be a productive reunion. Now, some fans have expressed disappointment about the signing. They're not thrilled about bringing back a player whose best days are clearly behind him, especially one who just spent a year with a division rival and then admitted he wasn't fully committed there. But that reaction feels a little short-sighted. This isn't a high-risk move. It's not even a roster move in the traditional sense. This is a leadership play. It's a support system for the locker room. It's about culture, mentorship, and adding value off the field as much as on it. And you know what? That's part of building a successful football team. Poyer's presence can help, especially for players like Cole Bishop, who's stepping into a huge role early in his career. If Poyer can help him grow, help him see things differently, help him adjust to the speed of the league, that's a win. Same goes for someone like Jordan Hancock. This secondary is in transition. There are young guys with talent, but they need guidance. Having a veteran who's been through it, who's worn the jersey, who's bled for the team, that matters. And Poyer's not the only familiar face returning. Jordan Phillips is back too, and like Poyer, he's on the practice squad. Phillips even joked about it in his press conference, saying that he and rookie Deone Walker have the same body type, which for anyone who's watched Phillips play, you know exactly what he means. That's another guy who can mentor young talent on the defensive line, guys like TJ Sanders and Walker. Again, the theme here is clear. Bring in veterans who know the system, know the standard, and can help the next generation take the reins. There's something to be said about having that kind of continuity. Yes, it's not the flashiest move. It doesn't dominate headlines. But teams that win consistently usually have a mix. Young, explosive players and smart, seasoned veterans who can show them the way. That's what Buffalo is building toward. And in that context, the return of guys like Poyer and Phillips makes perfect sense. Now, the other side of this conversation is who isn't available. Let's talk about Tre'Davious White. Brandon Beane gave what can only be described as a non-update. He's rehabbing. It's day-to-day. They're not ruling him out for week 1, but they're also not giving any real confidence that he'll be ready. That's concerning. And to make matters worse, Christian Benford didn't practice either. So suddenly, you're looking at a cornerback room where 2 of the top names are question marks heading into the opener against Baltimore. So who's next in line? That's the million-dollar question. Dane Jackson is back on the practice squad. He started 28 games since 2020, so he's got experience. But if he was the clear answer, he'd be on the active roster right now. Dorian Strong got the start in the final preseason game and was the first corner pulled. Maybe that's a sign they're leaning his way. Then there's John Marcus Ingram, who played last year and came in for Strong in that last game. It's a mystery at this point. You could make a case for any of those 3 being the week 1 starter opposite Kaiir Elam, assuming Elam's even healthy. Bottom line, the Bills are keeping things extremely close to the chest when it comes to the injury situation in the secondary. And that only adds to the uncertainty with the season right around the corner. We're going to get the first official injury report next Wednesday, and that's when we'll finally start to get some real answers. Until then, it's speculation. Not a single player the Bills waived during final cuts was claimed by another team. Not one. That's 2 years in a row now. So all that noise you hear every year about, this guy's not going to clear waivers, there's no way they get him back. Yeah, pump the brakes. Because once again, every single cut passed through waivers, and that gave the Bills complete freedom to rebuild their practice squad exactly the way they wanted to. Let's start with the quarterback spot. Shane Buechele is back, and that just makes sense. Could they have taken a swing on someone like Mike White? Maybe. He cleared waivers too and was still floating out there. But Buechele's value isn't really in being a future starter. It's in being a guy who knows the role of scout team quarterback inside and out. That's a big part of what QB3 is about. Emulating the opposing quarterback each week, running the other team's offense in practice, helping your defense get ready. And Buechele is good at that. He's mobile enough to mimic dual-threat quarterbacks. He knows the rhythm of the Bills' practices, and maybe most importantly, he has a real connection with Josh Allen. They've got chemistry. It works. At running back, Frank Gore Jr. is back. That's a win. No one had a more productive preseason at the position. He was the only player league-wide to post over 100 yards rushing and receiving during the exhibition games. He proved he belongs. And while he didn't make the 53, keeping him in the building is a great move. You never know when you'll need that depth, and Gore Jr. has the work ethic and lineage that makes you believe he'll be ready when that moment comes. Tight end is a little more straightforward. The Bills brought back Trey Lou, and that's it. Just one tight end on the practice squad for now. That tells you they feel pretty good about the depth on the active roster. Zach Davidson didn't make the cut. And while Davidson had some moments during the preseason, including that unexpected punt he delivered, there's a reason he's been bouncing around practice squads for years. You can like the energy, you can appreciate the story, but 5 years trying to stick on a roster is a long time. At some point, you need new blood. Lou was getting reps before Davidson in preseason, and that matters. At wide receiver, the Bills brought back 2 names, Stephen Gosnell and Christian Wilkerson. Wilkerson, in particular, stood out during camp and preseason. In fact, there's a strong argument to be made that he was the best receiver not named to the active roster. He's physical, he's got size, and he made plays consistently. For me, he was WR7. If something happens to any of the top 6, Wilkerson's the guy you want ready to step in. The offensive line additions to the practice squad are where things get really interesting. Kendrick Green and Dan Feeney are back, and that's a luxury. Both of those guys have meaningful NFL experience, and frankly, they could be depth players on other teams' active rosters. But the Bills found a way to bring both back. Cedric Van Prangranger being activated from the PUP list made that possible. It pushed some decisions around, but having Green and Feeney on the practice squad is like having 2 emergency break glass starters. If the interior gets banged up, either guy can step in and hold their own. That's rare to have on a practice squad. And then there's Travis Clayton, the rugby player from England who's part of the International Pathway program. This is more of a project, a long-term investment. But the fact that he even saw the field during preseason games, after never having played football before, says a lot. Offensive line isn't a position you can fake. If you can't function, the entire offense can't function. So the fact that they were confident enough to put him out there, even for limited snaps, shows they see something. Athleticism? No question. Now it's about refining the technique, learning the details, and seeing how far he can go with time and reps. On defense, the line gets help with Jordan Phillips and Zion Logue. Phillips, as we talked about, is more of a leadership move. He's not the same guy he was 5 years ago, but as a depth piece, he brings value. And he's already mentoring the younger guys like Dion Walker, who he joked is basically a clone of him. That kind of guidance can't be overstated. Logue, on the other hand, is more of a traditional nose tackle. Strong, physical, and still developing. I thought he might end up back in Atlanta, but Buffalo kept him around. That's a sneaky important depth piece for a team that needs to stop the run better than they did last year. At linebacker, Jimmy Charlo and Kelly Lawson are both back. And let's talk about Charlo for a second. That's the kind of preseason success story fans love. He was a late camp signing. He had almost no time to learn the defense. But what he did have was motor. Relentlessness. You could see it on tape. He wasn't leaving the building. He was living in the film room, staying late, doing anything he could to catch up and make an impression. And guess what? He did. He pushed past a former 5th-round pick, earned his way onto the practice squad, and now he's got a foothold. Those are the guys you root for, the ones who get shot and make the absolute most of it. The cornerback group includes Daquan Hardy and Dane Jackson. Let's not forget, there was some panic in the fan base when Dane Jackson was re-signed. People thought that meant he'd be CB2 again. He's not even on the active roster. That should tell you where he stands in the pecking order. Still, as a practice squad guy, that's solid depth. He's got game experience, he started playoff games, and he knows the system inside and out. Then at safety, you've got Poyer, obviously, and Sam Franklin. Franklin's interesting. He was with the Panthers for several seasons and spent time under current Bills special teams coordinator Chris Tabor. He's not going to give you much defensively, but he's a legit special teams ace. Think of him as this year's version of Siren Neal. He can be a weapon on coverage teams, and if someone goes down, he can be elevated for a few games without disrupting the flow of the unit. And while the active roster might get all the attention, it's the names on this practice squad that often determine how far a team can really go. It's about preparation. It's about being ready when called. It's about the grind that happens out of the spotlight, on the backfields, in the meeting rooms, on those cold Tuesday mornings when no one's watching. This group gets it. And if the Bills need to reach into this pool of talent at any point during the season, they should feel confident about what they've got. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers have been circulating across the sports world all morning, and now the news has broken. Mitchell Trubisky is reportedly out of the Buffalo Bills plans, leaving fans and analysts in a state of disbelief. Sources close to the team suggest that the departure comes as part of a sudden and unexpected negotiation, one that no one outside the inner circle saw coming. The Bills, known for their strategic approach to roster management, appear to be making a bold gamble by moving on from Trubisky, who has had a mixed but promising tenure with the team. Fans are already speculating about the implications, both on the field and in the locker room, with some praising the decision as a long-overdue shakeup, while others question the timing and potential impact on the team's chemistry. The rumor mills are running wild, with insiders hinting that Trubisky's departure could pave the way for younger talent or even signal the Bills' interest in acquiring another high-profile quarterback. Analysts are dissecting every possible scenario, from draft picks to trade strategies, trying to piece together the reasoning behind what is being called one of the most surprising moves of the season. Social media has exploded with reaction videos, memes, and hot takes, creating an electric atmosphere as speculation fuels endless debate. The story has quickly become more than just a roster update. It's now a cultural moment in the NFL, igniting conversations about team strategy, player loyalty, and the unpredictable nature of football management. Reports indicate that the negotiations surrounding Trubisky's exit were far from straightforward, involving a complex interplay of contracts, player demands, and team strategy, leaving many observers puzzled by the suddenness of the development. Insiders suggest that the decision to part ways with Trubisky was influenced not only by his performance, but also by broader considerations within the organization, including salary cap implications and potential future acquisitions. The discussions reportedly intensified over the past few weeks, though no public signs hinted at the magnitude of the move, making the announcement all the more shocking. Fans who have followed Trubisky's career closely have expressed a mix of relief and disappointment, recognizing the potential for a fresh start while mourning the abrupt end of an era. Meanwhile, the media landscape has been flooded with speculative analysis, with commentators breaking down every statistic, every game, and every public statement made by both the player and the team. Rumors abound about who might fill the void left by Trubisky, with names ranging from seasoned veterans to promising newcomers, each carrying their own set of expectations and uncertainties. The narrative has taken on a life of its own, fueled by speculation and insider tips, making it difficult to separate fact from conjecture. Amid the frenzy, one thing is certain. The Bills' decision has sent shockwaves through the league, prompting teams and fans alike to reconsider the balance of power in the AFC. It is a story that seems destined to dominate headlines for weeks to come, a swirling mix of strategy, talent, and unforeseen consequences that only the high-stakes world of professional football can produce. In the wake of Trubisky's reported departure, speculation has shifted toward the potential ripple effects on Buffalo's upcoming season, with analysts debating how the team's offensive strategy might adapt to the absence of their former quarterback. Observers note that Trubisky's unique skill set and playing style were integral to the Bills' schemes, and replacing him requires careful consideration of both tactical fit and locker room dynamics. Rumors suggest that the team may accelerate plans for emerging quarterbacks currently on the roster, or alternatively, explore high-profile trades that could realign the entire AFC landscape. Fans, meanwhile, are poring over game footage and statistical analyses, attempting to predict how the team will perform without Trubisky at the helm, creating a dynamic conversation that spans forums, social media, and sports talk shows. The media frenzy has amplified speculation, with pundits dissecting every possible trade scenario, free agent signing, and coaching adjustment, turning the rumor into a full-blown narrative that dominates headlines and online discourse. Additionally, the psychological impact on teammates cannot be understated, as leadership voids and changes in team hierarchy are already topics of conversation among insiders. Amid the swirling rumors, some are already framing this move as an opportunity for the Bills to innovate and redefine their identity, perhaps leveraging this moment of uncertainty to surprise their competitors. The intense focus on Trubisky's exit underscores the NFL's unforgiving environment, where career trajectories and team fortunes can shift in a matter of hours, reinforcing the delicate balance between strategy, talent management, and the ever-present pressure to succeed at the highest level of professional football. The story continues to evolve, with every rumor adding layers of complexity to an already intricate situation. Amidst the growing speculation, discussions have emerged regarding the financial implications of Trubisky's exit from the Bills, with experts weighing in on the potential salary cap relief and how the freed-up resources might be allocated toward other positions. Insiders have hinted that management could channel these resources into reinforcing both offensive and defensive units, creating an opportunity to balance long-term development with immediate competitiveness. Fans and analysts alike are questioning whether this strategy signals a shift in the organization's philosophy, or if it reflects a more reactive approach to a player situation that escalated more quickly than anticipated. Meanwhile, Trubisky's own career prospects have become a focal point, with rumors circulating about which teams might be interested in acquiring a quarterback of his caliber, experience, and potential upside. Sports commentators are dissecting previous performances, leadership qualities, and injury history to speculate on where Trubisky could land next, creating a whirlwind of conjecture that keeps the story at the forefront of NFL discourse. Social media trends underscore the heightened interest as hashtags and discussion threads reach unprecedented levels, reflecting not only fan engagement, but also the larger narrative of player movement shaping the league's competitive landscape. The story has morphed into a multi-layered rumor, blending strategy, economics, and personal trajectories, captivating audiences eager to understand both immediate consequences and long-term outcomes. Every new insider tip or report adds fuel to the ongoing fire, creating a complex tapestry of speculation that seems unstoppable. Within this whirlwind, the notion of loyalty, ambition, and calculated risk intertwine, painting a vivid picture of a league where decisions ripple far beyond the confines of the stadium, influencing career paths, fan morale, and the broader sports ecosystem in ways that few outside insiders can fully anticipate. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.